Hello everybody! It's me! Life Knife! I used to be Pinky Toe 68, but I decided Life Knife is like sharper name. Anyways, I'm coming to you from my bed, if you can't tell from the pillow, and I got my snazzy hat on because I'm feeling a little cold, and there's no makeup because I feel shitty today, and it's not because of, you know, what I'm going to be talking about, but mostly because I have a head cold. So if I sound like all blocked up or I don't make any sense, that's why. Moving on. Today I'm going to be talking about fibroids. Now, if you don't know what a fibroid is basically a tumor, benign tumor. Okay, benign tumor. That means that it's not cancerous, it's just kind of like a bunch of tissue, which is a tumor. Anyways, they can be anywhere in your uterus, around your uterus, basically in your cavity right there. And there's several different kinds. There are some that are like this. So there's some that are kind of like little dangly sacs. Those are like backs, kind of like hanging on the inside or the outside of your uterus. And then there's some that are just right below the surface, either on the outside or the inside of your uterus. And then there's some that are just smack right dab in the middle. Those are submucosal, and that's what I have. Now, I have 5 fibroids right now. The biggest one is the submucosal one. Now, that one is directly in the front of my uterus, pushing on my bladder, which means, yes, I pee all the time. All the time. Like a pregnant lady. Great. And what basically happens is, during my period, I have excruciating pain, I hemorrhage, I have to wear a diaper. TMI, but yeah, I have to wear a diaper. And I have to take a bunch of pills. Now, some people think, oh, well, I have to take Midol, you know, I have to take, different pills too, pain medication when I'm on my period, that's normal. But in my case, it is not normal. It is out of the spectrum of normal periods. Now, you can have a really heavy period. You can have a really light period, as in like, not even there kind of period. And that's fine. That's part of the spectrum of normal. But what I'm talking about is, like in The Shining, when the elevator doors open, and the blood just rushes out. That kind of period. You know, when you have a really heavy period and you sneeze, and there's that much blood, think of that times 2. All the time, during a period. It's great. I'm going to change arms because I'm vlogging because my tripod broke and I have to do this. Yeah. Also, you can't really tripod in bed, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe there are some people that can, but I'm just not cool enough. Anyways, back to the fibroids. When I found out that I had a fibroid, I was about 24 or 25. This is when my period had been not the worst, but I guess like the worst in the sense of I had never experienced that before. It was out of what I could control without medical help. I went to the doctor. They gave me an ultrasound just to see if I was pregnant or not. And that's when I saw an abnormality. Now the thing is, they didn't really explain anything to me. They just said, oh, you have a fibroid. You know, and at that point it was just a little one. Little fibroid. Just kind of dangling on the inside. Like the bags. And they just gave me, they gave me a prescription for naproxen. Now, naproxen looks like this. Let me just find it here. I got prepared. Naproxen looks like this. I don't know if you can see through. It's basically like a yellow pill. And they give that to you, and you can find it in a leaf, I do believe, over the counter. But I highly recommend going to your doctor or your gynecologist and, talking with them and getting a prescription, especially if your period is very heavy or it gives you a lot of pain, you're having a lot of cramps or a lot of swelling. That is the best thing to have, because naproxen is an anti-inflammatory, and it does have, some of them do have pain relief in it as well, so it's great. And it's better to have it prescribed because in a leaf there's a set amount, but there's a bunch of other stuff, whereas this is just exactly what you need. Now, I am not a nurse, I am not a doctor, I am not a medical professional anyway. I also am missing a nail. Sorry. So, I I can't give you any advice, like, or knowledge, actual medical knowledge, but I can just tell you what I know so far, based on myself. So if you need more information on yourself, definitely go and talk to a doctor, a gynecologist, or a nurse, or whatever you need to do. Anyways, here's a little backstory to fibroids. In my case, I started my period very, very early. I started at 8 years old. Now, you're thinking, that's impossible, but I did, and it was great. It wasn't like a full-blown period, it was like a little period, and then around 11, that's when it was getting really crazy. I was having period for almost a whole week to 2 weeks. It was a lot of bleeding, it was really bad. So they put me on hormones, and that regulated everything, and then I didn't really have any problems. You know, I had really heavy periods, but it wasn't that much of a problem until my late 20s. So again, as I said, jumping back to when I was about 24, 25, they checked me out, they said you have a fibroid, they gave me the naproxen, everything was good, life was doing better. Then, even with the naproxen, I was remaining bloated, I was having pain, I was missing work, you know, and that's not good when you're missing work. You know, no one should miss work because of pain. So, that's when I went, okay, something is definitely very, very wrong. What was ended up happening is I was vomiting from the pain, I was sweating, I was at work several times and I fell unconscious from the pain, and I had to be brought to the hospital. Now, I was at the hospital several times, and they just basically, they'd tell me I was dehydrated, they'd tell me I had anemia, all these different things, and then I had a fibroid, and they couldn't really do anything about it. They told me that they'd go away on their own. Now, sometimes it does happen. If you get the little ones, they can just kind of like fall off, and it becomes like a clot. Most of the time that does not happen, though, if you have the bigger ones. In my case, at 27, it was 2012. So I do believe it was 26. At that point, is when I was having a lot of trouble. My periods were so painful at that point. I literally couldn't work during that time. Like, I couldn't move, I couldn't work, I couldn't walk. Even after, when my period was over, I was having severe leg cramps. I was having severe abdomen cramps. I was bloated. I was weak as a kitten. I couldn't do anything. Walking just a few blocks to the store to get myself some food, you know, to groceries or anything, was hellish, because I was so very weak. And that can happen, you know, when you're hemorrhaging all the time. Then what ends up happening was they checked me out again because I thought I had a miscarriage. Now, I've had a miscarriage in the past, and it felt like that. It felt like a miscarriage. But it turns out it wasn't. It was just the beginning of the worst 2 years of my life. I had severe hemorrhaging bleeding at that point, and they checked. They did a pregnancy test, they did everything, and they said, you're not pregnant. You just have a crazy tumor in your uterus. A tumor! And I was like, what are you talking about? Oh my god. Because the first thing someone says a tumor, you automatically go like, hey, cancer, I'm gonna die now. So, it wasn't cancer. They did a biopsy, they checked my cervix, they checked they took a tiny biopsy of what it was, and they went, nope, it's not cancer, it's a fibroid. Now, the fibroid I had was, at the time, it was 4.2 or 4.5 centimeters. Now, if you want to translate that into inches, I think that's 2.5 inches? I'm not sure. Anyways, think of a golf ball. That's what I had in the front of my uterus. Now, if your uterus goes like this, okay, so this is the front of your body here, and this is the uterus, and then your bladder's right here. So mine was right here, pushing on my bladder. So my bladder's like, ah, my uterus is like, ugh, like that. Sorry. Anyways, it was like this, and it was really bad, and I was hemorrhaging and such. And that's when they gave me, the very nice doctor in emergency gave me, ooh, wrong pill. They gave me something which is called tranexamic acid, 500 milligrams, and I have to take that 3 times, 3 pills. Oop, don't want to use my stuff. So it's like a white pill like this. So 3 times, 3 pills 3 times a day for 3 to 5 days. That's the time of my period. So I only took it during my period. So they gave me that for that time. And it did. It helped. It helped so I didn't bleed to death. Which is always great. Bleeding to death is terrible. And it did help with the naproxen and that. And then I was getting more pain. And I went back to the hospital and they found more fibroids. And those were the 4 other fibroids that I had. And what was happening is they were the gangly kind, and they're pushing on my ovary, on my right ovary. And that's what's causing, so my abdomen is kind of like uneven. So I kind of look like I'm about 3 months pregnant, but like a little, like my stomach is like out like this. But on this side, it kind of like goes out a little bit more. And you can't, you know, most people can't really notice, but I can tell when I'm laying down. I can't, if I suck in my stomach, it stays that way. And I can't do anything about it. So yeah, that kind of hurts all the time now. And they gave me medication for that. And I take something called Dilaudid during my period when it's really bad. That is like the top pain. I'm like falling unconscious. I am dying of pain. Basically, that's what they give you after surgery, is the kind of medication I take. But I don't take it all the time. It's rare that I take it because I try not to take it because it is an opiate. You don't want to get addicted to that. That's bad shit. Sorry, I swore. And so I do take something called Tramadol, and that is some good stuff. That takes away your pain. But the problem with that is it gives you headaches, and it gives you like, it makes you forget things because you just basically you get passed out. Yeah. And the fun thing about fibroids in my case is because of where it is, I can't have a surgery, because that's something that my friends and people who meet me and things like that, they go like, oh, why don't you just have it removed, you know, just get it laughed off. Well, the thing is, it's in my uterus, and your uterus has a lot of, you know, veins and arteries, and it's just delicate. You don't just go around hacking into it. And even the smallest surgery has a very high chance of, you know, I hemorrhage, they can't stop the bleeding, and they have to remove my uterus. So they don't want to do that because I want to have kids. I'm 31, I want to have kids. I'm not freshly married, but I'm, you know, like we're ready to have children. And the problem is, if I don't have a uterus, it's kind of hard to have babies with your uterus if it's not in you, you know? Moving right along. A lot of people ask me, well, just get it removed, you know, just gotta have surgery, do whatever. And there's different options. You have to, you know, my gynecologist doesn't want to do it because of that. I actually have to find a new gynecologist because mine went on sabbatical. And it basically is a shit show. Sorry if I lose money or whatever, or viewers, because I said shit show. But that's what it is. It's a shit show. And it's not good. But what can also happen because of hemorrhaging is you become anemic. Now, that is not fun. That's why I was so weak as a kitten from, and also losing all the blood. So I was regularly going to the hospital and getting saline transfusions because I was so dehydrated. And because the thing is, when you lose blood, you don't just lose iron, you lose a lot of vitamins, you lose water, you lose everything. So I had to get saline so I become rehydrated. Even though I drank a lot of water, it still wasn't enough. And I can't drink Pedialyte all the time. And what ended up happening was I was on several different kinds of iron. Now, this is ridiculous. When you take iron, it tastes terrible. It makes your mouth taste terrible. It tastes like you're licking an old metal spoon all the time, and it can give you heartburn, and it's really hard on your stomach. You can get very nauseous when you first start taking it. And they recommend it for you to take it with yogurt or drink milk. Now, I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't do that, and I still was doing it when I had to take my pills. I still did it. and I was just vomiting all the time. And I went to my daughter, I'm like, hey, I can't do this. This is really bad. I'm getting like, you know, esophagus burns and stuff. And he went, okay, I'm gonna find you something. And I tried everything, it just wasn't working. And then my friend, who had hemorrhaging when she'd had her child, she recommended a type of iron that they gave to her. And it's called Ferromax. Oh my god. Ferromax is the greatest thing in the world. If you have to take iron, tell your doctor about it. It's that awesome. Anyways, it's easy on your stomach. You have to take it with food, but I take it at night. Because if you take it with food, you can tend to get gassy, and it can, like, because it can make you constipated a bit, or it can make you the other way, which isn't good. So you get a little bit gassy sometimes. So I take it at night, and then, you know, if I fart, it's my husband, you know? Nobody needs to know. And it's great. I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. Not today because I'm super sick, but most of the time I can go out with my friends now. I can go grocery shopping alone, you know? I can clean my house. That's a big thing, is I was so weak I couldn't clean my house, you know? And my periods are still terrible. They're horrendous. But I don't hemorrhage as much, so I actually don't have to take the tranexamic anymore because I don't bleed as much during my period because of the iron pills. So that's really, really good. And I don't have to get transfusions anymore because I can stay remotely hydrated. It's not like bad dehydration, it's just a little bit. So I can deal with that. And I can take multivitamins, and I'm allowed to start working out again because I'm healthy enough to start working out. The only thing is, with my fibroid in my case, it pulls even when I'm not on my period, so I can't really bend over. I have pain when I walk too long. I have trouble getting up and getting down. It's basically like someone who's really pregnant, you know, who's around like 6-7 months, and you know, like, it's more difficult to get up and to get down and to bend over and things like that. So I have that, but it's not a big blob in front of me. It's not like a baby inside of me. It's just a tumor thing. And mine is 6.1 centimeters now. I don't know how much that is in inches, but it is basically the size of a small orange right now. So it's like about this big. A small orange. Right in the front, same place. So it's not good. Anyways, the main point of this is to let you know that just because someone looks fantastic on the outside doesn't mean that they're doing great on the inside. And, you know, it's not that easy to get rid of things all the time. You know, I really shouldn't do this, but, you know, it can cause mental issues. Like, for instance, I have high anxiety right now. I'm a little depressed, obviously. So I'm a little bit depressed, you know, and I'm anxious, and I'm angry, you know. I'm thinking to myself, why me, you know? And I know there's people with much worse and much terrible things going on in the world, but, you know, I have to deal with this. And I stay positive, you know, you try and stay as positive as you can during the time. And something else I'd like to say is, oh, I keep saying and, I'm really sorry. I just want people to know that if someone looks fine on the outside, doesn't mean that they're doing good on the inside. Now, whether that be a mental issue, whether they have fibroids like I do, whether they have something else, you can't really judge them for the decisions they have to make. So for instance, I had to stop working, and that's just for my own health. But when you tell someone you're not working and you look fine and you're out, they think, oh, what, you're, you know, like you're a kept woman, or you're like independently wealthy. I wish I was independently wealthy, but I'm not. You know, you can't judge them. You can't put your negative ideas against them, because you don't know what someone's going on, you know, you don't know what's going on in someone's life. And you know, everyone has things that you can't see. So like I was saying, mental illness, you know, people who have cancer, the early stages, people who have fibroids, people who have had hysterectomy, you know, people who, you know, they have brittle bone syndrome, they have Crohn's disease. There's a bunch of illnesses and diseases that you can't see, and people look perfectly fine, but they're not doing good. And you just, you know, you gotta respect everybody. Everybody, you know, needs to be respected and understood. And just because you don't understand, it doesn't mean that it's bad. And you should, you know, if you're not sure, talk to people. There's nothing wrong with talking to them. Just don't be condescending. You know, to be like, oh, well, just get this, or just get that, or whatnot, because it's not always that easy. I mean, if it was so easy to get a surgery, I would have gone and got it, you know. But I want to have kids, and the easiest surgery for me is to get my uterus removed. So that's kind of, you know, counterproductive. But no, that's it. Anyways, let me know if you like this video. Click subscribe, click like, and if you want me to make more story times that are shorter than this one, and a little more, you know, together, then let me know in the comments. If you think this is a terrible video, let me know in the comments. If you like spaghetti, let me know in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will try and make another video next week if I'm feeling better. Bye!